Hello everyone. I just finished my recording and then I was about to log out. But I saw a message about the AFK bans and I am fired up now. I want to go ahead and talk about this. I'll do my best to explain why I'm so fired up. Okay, background for those who maybe didn't hear a past recording or are new to the channel. I'm disabled with a lot of health issues. I'm not bothered by it because, I try to have a positive or philosophical outlook of it. I recognize everyone has flaws, and I'm no exception. I have many flaws of my own, and I will do my best to work around those flaws. So, it may not seem like it now because of how scatterbrained I am due to the issues mentioned, but I was a game tester in my younger years. I enjoyed my job, but unfortunately, that job no longer exists, and I will get to that in a moment. But so let's talk about the change in the gaming industry. It used to be a couple of years ago that you had dedicated test teams consisting of people like me who would play the game, figure it out, look for flaws, and then give feedback either on the flaws um, or find a way to improve the game that would make it better for players. That was our entire job, was to figure those things out. But unfortunately, over the years, companies have been skimping on money or can't afford it. It could be one or the other. I don't know which of the two, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But either way, these companies now are making it so that their dev teams or their Q&A doubles the testers, which is not a good way to approach it. But either way, that's what they do now. And I think the level of quality has certainly changed because of this. So, because of the lack of test teams involved. So let's talk about how test teams worked. When I was doing my job, I was assigned a coordinator. Whenever a game company came looking for people to play their game and try to figure these things out, we were assigned according to the game. So if it was an RPG, they just looked for game testers. You didn't really need heavy duty people like mathematicians or things like that. But if it was something like an MMO where, experience gain, material costs, and things like that were involved, then we would have testers mixed in with mathematicians. You may think that, a person with PhD in math has no business being in the gaming industry, but they do. Because figuring out the experience gain to monsters killed or material usage to experience gain for crafting, these are all things that mathematicians are much better suited for than myself. I can test the game and come up with tons of ideas, but the one thing I can't touch is math because I am terrible at it. That's what makes test teams so great is coordinators figured out what the needs were and figured out the flaws of the team and then introduce somebody to that team that would complement that flaw or fix it. So that's how game testing teams worked and why I said what I did. Because, people like that actually have experience in determining what the needs are and what needs to be done. Unfortunately, though, like I said, these jobs don't really exist anymore. If they do, it's just so minor that you'd be lucky to find one. But that's because of the change. Because now that they've doubled their Q&A or devs as the testers, now they've essentially crippled that market for game testers to be a thing. The last time I heard of game testers being involved, like a true dedicated test team, was Phantom Doctrine back in, I think it was 2016 or something like that. Phantom Doctrine, I want you all to go look at that game on that note because that's a game well designed. That game had barely any issues day one, and it was well designed, well thought out. Now, gameplay wise, there were some people that didn't like it, but that's fine. Game level design, planning, and everything was done right. One other example I can give that didn't have a test team involved is Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. Vampire the Masquerade Redemption is an example I will continue to bring up in my recordings because it is a true sign of quality in the gaming world. And if you read any of those top 50 games of our lifetime list, you will find Vampire the Masquerade Redemption on it. Why? It's because it was well designed, not just in the game itself, but also in the story. Vampire the Masquerade Redemption has a story that spans 1,000 years in total, but the game isn't that long. They did a very good job of compacting that 1,000 years of story into a short and simple to understand story that you learned as you progressed through the game. It didn't require you to go to a wiki page to read the lore about this kind of stuff. It was all presented to you in the game, in short order and in an easy understand format. So, coming back to New World now. The thing that gets me fired up the most is when I play a game and I can clearly see these flaws. Because, or I should say flaws or things that could be done better. Because these are things that I know if I had my team with me, we would find that very quickly. And we would immediately suggest a fix in some form or another. That's why I'm going to be a little bit harsh on games, because, one, I had a job that involved this, and two, this has been going on for far too long. I am tired of the quality of games being so dang low. These are things that should be blatantly obvious to anyone. And I don't know why they're allowing these games to be published when that can be seen. But either way, as far as New World is concerned, I don't agree with banning people outright for doing the AFK macros. I understand that, people want to play the game and these people are making it difficult to play the game because they're essentially taking up a slot in the server. But at the same time, this happened because of a mistake based on the development team. You have to expect players to find loopholes, glitches, or other things and use them to their advantage as a developer. And when that happens, that mistake is on you. I don't think it's fair to ban somebody on a mistake that you made. That would be like me banning somebody, for making fun of my disabilities or something like that. People are going to make fun of me all the time, and I can't stop that, even if I ban them. So what's the point, And the same thing applies here. You're not going to stop it by banning players. The only thing you can do is solve the problem on a development level, because that will ultimately stop it. But in my opinion, you can't punish a player for a mistake you made. One of the many things that you will learn about me is I have a life philosophy of owning up to your mistakes. It's a lot easier to own up to your mistakes than try to hide it. Bruce Lee had an amazing quote about this. And I won't give you the full spiel, but short version is he was saying that mistakes are forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. And I 100% agree with this. I would not be the person I am today if I didn't have that life philosophy behind my life. Accepting these mistakes and learning to correct them. Because if I didn't, I would not be where I am in life with my disabilities and health issues. To be honest, looking back, 30 years ago, I think would be a good number. If I were to look back 30 years ago and compare it to now, oh my goodness, I've changed so much. When I was young, I hated the world because I was like, why me? Why do I have all these health issues and disabilities? Why am I different than other kids? But I eventually got to a point where I just got tired of trying to find answers and questions that there were points where I wanted to end my life. I'm going to be honest. That's where I was in my younger years, that I was just fed up with life. But thankfully, I had very good people in my life that got me on the right path in terms of getting better attitude towards life and learning that I need to work harder to be where I need to be. And I'm very, very thankful for those people in my life, honestly. Had I made that decision many years ago, man, I would have missed out on so many good years. Sure, I've had my ups and downs, but damn, I am so proud and happy where I am. So, yeah. My short version is the devs need to acknowledge the mistakes and own up to it. Because honestly, banning players for your mistakes is the dumbest idea. But that's all I have. Thanks for listening.